Hi guys, welcome to Kathy's Ensembles. Today I will be reviewing a book. So I'm going to do a book review, and generally I've never done one before, so this is going to be my first one, and depending on whether or not it's good, I will do more. So I'm going to do two. So the first book I'm going to be talking about is Ender's Game. The book that so everyone knows Ender's Game. I never really heard of it until my friends talked about it because my boyfriend wanted something to read. So what I ended up reading was actually Ender's Shadow. And people may think that you need to read Ender's Game first, but I don't think so, and I haven't read Ender's Game yet. I read Ender's Shadows. Thing is, the event is happening simultaneously as things go on, so it's not like you need to read one over the other. I don't think, although if you read Ender's Games first, you might have a little bit better of an understanding of Ender's Shadow. So Ender's Shadow is about a little boy who's kinda Ender's psychic, and it's basically his background. And the reason why I enjoy the book or why I really like the book is because it's very witty. I like shows like Sherlock Holmes, and I kind of did like CSI and The Big Bang Theory, although The Big Bang Theory is not really like it, or Suits if you think about it. Everyone's really intelligent, and I feel like that's kind of what drew me into Ender Shadow, is that all these kids, they're really smart, and I like reading about that, how people would think, um, if they knew, if they're just to judge you straight off the bat, and yet their assumptions are right. So it takes place in kind of space in a way, and I really liked it because I know I really enjoy a book if I can read it, or if I can't put it down. That's my biggest thing. I really like a book if I can't put the book down and read it within like 1 or 2 days, really, which is what I did to End of Shadow. So I would highly recommend it if you like sci-fi, or if you just enjoy a book that is kind of a mystery but kind of not, and has its own world. I give props and kudos to this author a lot. He's able to transition so smoothly that all of a sudden I was in one world, and then the next second I was in another world, and yet they all transition and just are very smoothly combined. I'm not a writer, so obviously I can't really, but I just like the fact that he's able to transition the reader so smoothly from one, I guess, world to another. So I just one of the one of my biggest thing about reading is also how the author writes. It doesn't necessarily always have to be about the story, or if the story is good, because the story can be amazing and I just can't stand the author's writing. So I really have to like the author's writing in order to continue reading the book. And another that's kind of another reason why I like this author. He doesn't necessarily lose use ginormous words like SAT words or GRE words or whatever. But I feel like it's a good enough vocabulary range that I enjoy. So yeah, I hope you guys read it. Let me know if you guys do, or if you guys did already. And it's more of a younger's book, a younger generation kind of book, because kids, supposedly my friend read it in like middle school or something like that, or maybe even high school. But I feel like as an adult you would still enjoy the book, I think. So yeah. And my next book, I was going to do two separate ones, but I think I decided I'm just going to talk about both of them because this one's a little bit short. The next one, I got it as a recommendation from Miss Glamorazzi, which is Ingrid Nilsson, and the book was just so intriguing to me just because the cover was yellow. I found it in the bookstore and it was blue, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to read this anymore. It's kind of strange. But anyways, I read the back, and then I read a couple of pages, and I was like, oh, this is somewhat interesting. It's more of a light read kind of book, I think, but at the same time, I kind of wanted to know what happened. It's not a book where I cannot put it down, because I can. And even though I took more than 2 days to read it. It was more like 3 or 4 days to read it. It was still a good book. It was a book that I wanted to pick back up. I think that's another thing. Even though I could put it down, I still kept thinking about it, and I was like, what's gonna happen? So yeah, it's about a boy, kind of, which is really interesting to me, just because all of my books generally have always been a girl as a protagonist, or it's all about the girl. So these past two books have been about boys, and I actually do really like him. I feel like it's a really good leisurely book, and it's really interesting because one day you're in one world and the next day you're in another. Like, how would you describe this? Okay, not world. That's more like Ender's Game and Ender Shadow, because technically it was different worlds. This one I'm talking about as if suddenly you're in one social status, and then the next second something happened, and then boom, you're in another social status. And having a certain kind of social status, I feel like, is really different, a different perspective, because you see things in a different way from that point of view. And I guess that's what I meant when I was talking about world, is that you have a different point of view of the world, from in one shoe to the next. You know what I mean? If you're a certain kind of persona, you have a certain kind of characteristic, you have a certain aspect or view or judgment of the world you see from that point of view. Suddenly you're in a different kind of shoe, you're in a different place of your life, and then suddenly you see a world in a different place. I like this book just because it was a good, easy, light read. It didn't have me thinking a lot. But it was just kind of fun to read and just think about and reminisce about high school, I guess. So yeah, it's about kids in high school, and if that's too long ago for you or it's not something you prefer, I don't know. I think it's just a light read. So yeah, let me know if you have read or are going to read the book, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.